Hi, I'm Ralph Bass. I'm author of the book Back to the Future. What about that name, Back to the Future? Where did I come up with that? What does it mean? Well, as you know, most people understand the book of Revelation as being prophecy that is not fulfilled yet. It is in our future and will someday in the near or distant future be fulfilled. However, it is the contention of my book that the book of Revelation, written somewhere around AD 64, was to see a soon fulfillment, and that fulfillment occurred in a 3.5-year period right prior to the destruction of Jerusalem, which was in AD 70. So in other words, unless we go back 2,000 years, we don't get to a point in which the book of Revelation was yet future. So we have to go back to the future. Now, we see this spoken of actually by Peter in a sermon in Acts chapter 2, in which he says, "But this is what was spoken of through the prophet Joel. And it shall be in the last days," God says. And then skipping down, he goes on and says, "And I will grant wonders in the sky above, and signs on the earth below, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord shall come." Well, the last days, I've read that and thought about that over the years, and people that I have studied and listened to said, well, that's the last days are a 2,000-year period. Well, the first days, the history of Israel was only a 1,500-year period, and we have a last days that are lasting longer than the beginning, the middle, and the end of the Jewish era. That didn't make sense to me. In time, I began to realize that when Joel prophesied and Peter, of course, preached, Peter was preaching about an era that began in his day and was to soon conclude. John wrote about AD 64 and the book of Revelation, and of course he says the things he's writing about are to take place soon. And indeed that short period of time did occur, and a 3.5-year period culminating in the destruction of Jerusalem concluded the last days. Now, of course, it was not the last days of the world. It was the last days of the Jewish era. This was a transitionary period of about 40 years between the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the offer of the gospel through the apostles, and then finally the judgment on Jerusalem and Israel for their murder of the Lord of glory, and the flowering of the Church of Jesus Christ to be the new covenant people of God. This is the position of this book, Back to the Future, and it's a little bit different than what many of you are used to, but I would ask you to entertain the possibility that there might be merit to this, and ask serious questions, and perhaps you will find that it opens up the book of Revelation in a way no other point of view does, and it makes very good sense. I look forward to communicating with you and hearing your insights and opinions in the days ahead. Thank you. Bye.